the spirit of the season indeed on Power 95. And here we are. I don't know about y'all, but it is my favorite time of the year. We're still in October, but we're getting a jump start. The way things are going lately, you can't take it for granted that you get to see another Christmas. So, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Christelle. Good morning, Marianne. Y'all come on in. We have a lot to talk about today. We got a lot to talk about today. So much happened. We had a long weekend. The radio is working fine. Okay, we're back up now. My apologies, guys. Here, someone had a couple folks complaining about not hearing us properly and the internet acting up. But now that it's restarted it, we're good now. All right. Yeah, Andre, I was saying I meant to message you on the weekend because there's something I needed to tell you, and let me just put it out there. I suck at communicating. Sometimes you wanna like talk to somebody, you wanna reach out to somebody, and then you keep saying, you know what, I'll do it just now, I'll do it just now, and then Lord, I'm still working on this introvert thingy, but it's not working out for me at all. It's not. I'm not doing good at all in terms of you know, some people like to talk. Somebody who's we're back. You guys give me a thumbs up if we're back. Just let me know if we're back if you're hearing me. Um, some says they can't see or hear anything. I'm back. So come on in, guys, and share the live. We are back. Yeah. Okay, I'm good now. I'm good now, Kizzy. All right, loud and clear. So hit the share button, guys, because like I said, I got a lot to talk about. A whole 5 minutes, 8 minutes gone already, and before you know it, it's time to wrap up. But like I said, we had a long weekend, and to the friends, my friends, and folks out there who always ask every year, "Oh, you guys celebrate Thanksgiving too?" It's not that sort of celebration that the way you celebrate it in the U.S. We don't do turkey and big food and nothing. You know, it's just giving thanks, of course. It's to do with the Grenada Revolution and the U.S. soldiers coming in and helping out the situation. Rah, 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 rah. So it's not that sort of Thanksgiving where we Christmas is our Thanksgiving. You know how the way you guys celebrate Thanksgiving, we celebrate Christmas. And like I said, we realized Power FM. We started playing Christmas music this morning. Somebody said October Christmas music. I'm like, yeah, we don't know what's gonna happen if we're even gonna be here for Christmas. So many people had plans for the last couple Christmases gone and they didn't get to see it. So I started cleaning. I did a lot of cleaning. My house feels so light. Sometimes you think you don't have a lot of stuff and you only realize you have a lot of stuff like when you're moving or you decide to do a Christmas clean. And I'm like, you know what? This habit of back in the day, when our parents waited until like the week before Christmas or 2 weeks, I want to kill us with work. You had to scrub, you had to mop, you had to scrape chair and vanish. You had to go up in the roof and wipe down this. You have to clean windows and shine with newspaper. You have to go on the house. You have to do. Listen, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing this. And if I look sharp, I probably will change my curtains tomorrow and put up my Christmas tree, because like I said, we just don't know lately. And Christmas is definitely my favorite time of the year. Love, love, love Christmas. The vibe and energy. I know we didn't get to celebrate the way we usually do last Christmas, but I hope this year will make a difference. And speaking of making a difference, when we're getting rid of the curfew, I mean, I think it's time. I think because at about 6:45, 6:50, you would swear there's a highway where I live. You only hear the sound of the vehicle and you know it's a vehicle, but the speed at which these drivers are trying to get off the street before 7. Um, if we're not in a place to move it entirely, maybe about 10. Let's jump to the 10 for and see how that goes, because it's just so like you're trying to cram so many things into the day and trying to get to the supermarket and trying to do this, and by the time you're through with work you can't do what you're supposed to do. So I really think we need to at least 10 for now, or 11 or somewhere there about, but this 7, I think we're at a good place now. And like I said, of course, with everything else, when the numbers start to go down, folks will get complacent. When it starts to decrease, folks will get complacent and start hanging out again, start doing what they do again. But we got to understand the human psyche. I mean, we've literally had to change the way we know life for the past, well, it's almost 2 years. Being people who are sociable, you were out, you were hanging with your friends, chilling, having a good time, and then bam, this thing came, and you have to wear mask and have to social distance, and you have to be inside before a certain area. You can't go to party, you can't go to lines, and it's really frustrating and hard for a lot of people who've had to made those changes, especially folks who are extroverts. They like being out, they like being around people, they like hugging, they like those sort of things. um Even somebody like me who's an introvert, it's bothersome sometimes. It's like, you know what, even though I may not do anything, but I just want to know I have that option, that if I choose to do something I can. But as it is now, nothing's doing. But anyways, good morning, Della. Roseanne, good morning. Good morning, Andrea, Leonette, Brian, good morning, Christelle, Rachel, Kizzy, good morning again. Narissa, good morning. Deborah, who's here. Molly, good morning. Jenilyn, good morning. Sharon, Linda, Marianne, good morning. So let's get to the meat of the matter. You guys know last week we spoke about I was telling you guys about this pastor situation, His Excellency Kevin Smith in Jamaica, and his church, which is now labeled a cult, and all that was happening. And him being in police custody. Then yesterday, the news broke of him, of his death, and him traveling with the to go to for the charges to be laid against him, moving from one part to another to the court to have those charges laid against him. And then we heard he he died, and a police officer also died, with two others being in critical condition. And boy, the world, I swear, everybody, it just erupted yesterday. And, as always, we're going to have different take on it. We're going to have people, trying to put the pieces together, you know. And basically, that's what we had yesterday. A whole lot of detectives, folks saying they don't believe. Some saying they have to see him dead, dead, dead to believe. And it begs the question that I want to talk about this morning. Because prior to him being taken into police custody, there's a lot of videos circulating with him and the way he did his thing at his church. And one of the videos I saw circulating was some of the church members came late, and Mr. Excellency was at the pulpit and calling out these people to pay late fees. And people walked up and put money down for attending church late. Now, I want to ask a question, and this is not about any religion or attacking any religion. But my question is, I remember back in the day when we went to church. Well, when I went to church, and they would give you $1 to put in the collection plate, and you probably put a quarter, and you take the 75 cents to buy snow ice or some snack after church, or you put 75 and you keep a quarter, because that in those days $1 was a lot. So the most you would get, and that was considered a lot. If somebody put $5 in the collection plate, you were like, whoa, you're looking at that person like they're rich, like $5. And you put in your little dollar, your little 50 cent, and it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't something that was mandated. If you have, you put. You don't have, you don't put. Because the main point was you were going to hear the word, the gospel. You were going to get blessings. So what changed overnight where I'm now seeing, although there's a particular program that I watch, and you hear a lot of talk about sowing a seed. There are people who have this idea that sowing a seed and you expect something in return. But I'm of the belief you give something, you give. And if you get anything, you get it. You're not doing it to get something. Now, why do people really go to church now? And I mean, I used to go religiously. Like I said, this is not an attack against any religion. People are entitled to go where they want to go. People are entitled to believe in what they believe in. But when you went, it was to get closer to God, it was to get this sense of, blessing and, getting your life together and praying and all those things. And after a couple of years, I'm like, you know what? I just literally stopped, because I'm like, I keep going, but I'm not getting that sense of fulfillment. I'm not getting this sense of, okay, this is where I need to be. And the blessings, and you're there and you're doing fellowship and you're singing and you're feeling the spirit. I just wasn't feeling it. It's like I went, and every Sunday, it's like after a while it became monotonous. It's like you almost expect, it's like a routine. You know what's gonna happen. You're gonna say the prayer. We're gonna go up for we're gonna have a collection. You're gonna go and get your bread and drink your wine. What you call that thing? For people who are collection. How you call that thing when you go up for with the little white thing? Y'all are not helping me. How you call the thing? Communion, whatever it is. And you go and then you walk back all pious with your hands clasped, and you go over there and you close your eyes and you're feeling host. Thanks, Andrea, host. But after a couple of years, I'm like, what is it that I'm doing here that I can't do by myself? Read my Bible, etc., etc. But like I said, everybody goes for different reason, and it's for some it works, and for others it's like whatever. At the end of the day, people are entitled to believe whatever they want to believe in and follow whatever they want to follow. But the part I'm getting at is, how did money become a big factor, so much of a big thing in churches, and not only in the Caribbean? If you look at the Joel, what's his name, Austin, whatever, whatever, and the TD Jakes and the whoever's, when you look at the size, the magnitude of their church, and what's his name, Creflo Dollar, who demanded that his people donate so he can buy a private plane, so he can go take the word further. Now, if we go back to this story back in the Bible, Jesus walked, he rode donkey, he do all sort of things, and when they were giving whatever dollars in the church, he went and he tore up the whole place, threw down thing, thing, thing. Do not turn his father's house into, gambling place and whatever. No, it's hard to believe these people, because sometimes you look at, like I said, the big names with the big churches, and you look at where they are in life, and you look at the people who follow them. And these are not rich people. There are rich people who do that, but there are also poor people who barely could take care of themselves, giving their very all. And you look at the way that they live, some in poverty, but they take their last and they give to these people who live in big houses, have private planes, mansions, and they're tax free. And there are people who gravitate towards those things and believe in it. I'm not saying it's wrong to believe in something, because there are people who believe in politicians and they can't do no wrong no matter what they do. Even if they're poking out their eye, they still believe in it and turn the other eye for them to poke the other one. We have to realize that there are people who are vulnerable, there are people who are gullible, there are people who follow, they don't know how to lead, and anything you say to them for that sense of belonging. They want to be part of something, that anything you say, even if you know it's wrong, because with Mr. Excellency in Jamaica, there are people who are still saying they stand by him regardless, even though they saw with their two eyes the sacrifices and the throat being slit and whatever happened there. They still stood by him and saying that they will stand by his side regardless. But I digress. My question is, when did sowing, why is it important to sow a seed? One, I want to understand the reasoning behind this sowing of seeds. And why does money have such a big part to play within some churches? There are some churches you go to, they don't ask you for nothing. You don't have to donate nothing. If you want to, if they're probably doing a little afternoon program, or they're probably doing a little renovation, what have you, but it's not compulsory. When there are others, whether it's weekly or whatever, you have to have your envelope. And that man was at his pulpit and belittling people and talking, literally asking these people, telling these people like, why you're in my church and you're not paying and you're not contributing, and people believe that and think this is God. This is really who God is and what God is about. A man standing there and everything is about money. There's also on one of the newspapers of someone signing over their life insurance. That person had a child. I think it was the woman who died, has a child and mother whose names were on her life insurance policy, and she changed it to his name. How is that of God? How is that? I'm trying to get the relationship between that and God. You having to give your last to see somebody living lavishly, and you poor as a church mice, and you literally hand to mouth. I can understand if you're taking all these collections and then in turn you're helping the people within your fold. You're helping them, whether it's the child need to a pair of shoes, they need to go back to school, help them with their education, pay for college, or a member of the church house is in disrepair and you're helping to rebuild. At the end of the day, we collect 50 million, so we use it amongst the folks who contribute. But these people don't see a cent of it. And people don't see something is wrong with, like I said, I know it's easy to be brainwashed if you don't have this strong spirit, and you're always being in a following position and a follow-up position most of your life, and not that of a leader. So it's easy to believe in something. They practically had this man as a demigod. Like, they looked up to him and actually believed everything he said. So my question again is, for people who attend church, sowing a seed, why is that so important? And why is money so important in church if you're supposed to be worshiping, going to worship God? Why is money such a big deal? Rosen is saying churches become a big business with shareholders and nothing about doing the Lord's work. Oh, I'm trying to understand. How is that of God? As Andrea is saying, how is that of a sane, sound mind? I looked at this man twice and I couldn't look. I just looked at a couple seconds in the videos, and I'm like, I laughed. To me, it was funny because his antics. There was one where he was singing, he jump up singing, Golly Bop song. Everybody wants us. I mean, the man jump up singing that song, and he was like an actor. He was reveling in the moment and enjoying it. And all I saw was a man who is very good at manipulation and people being gullible, easy to fall for it. That's all I saw. There was nothing about him. People are saying, "Oh, look at him," and they're feeling scared. There's nothing about him that scared me. All I saw was somebody who was good at his job, good at manipulating and taking advantage, basically, of people who maybe don't know better, maybe are weak spirited or weak minded, or whatever the case might be. That's all he did. Took advantage of these people. They say there is a God who what sits up high and looks down low. When I saw that yesterday, I had no emotions. I was like, okay. They say you pay for your sins, you pay for your deeds one way or the other. There are folks who are calling and talking about. I believe that there's people who can dabble in things, but I'm not fully there yet in believing, this dark world. I understand that people try all sorts of things, and based on what you intended it to do, I believe like everything else, yin and yang, good and bad. So if it's not good, it's bad. So probably you dabble in certain things and you invite certain things into your life and you don't know how to put them back. And then it gets out of control. You can sow a seed by supporting a child with their education. You have to give it to a church. And then yeah, but my question is, I have no problem if you doing that and the members are benefiting. The members are eating good. They could eat piece of steak when they feel like it. They could eat some lobster. They could eat, some lamb and not chicken back or back and neck as we call it, and fig. They could eat that if they want, but they also have the choice to eat like that and drink the best wine and drive the best cars. You're seeing, I'm making reference to the man. This man had 3 or 4 houses, and he's driving up in his big ride while his people, they're walking to church, and he has several vehicles and several houses. Oh, people don't see that as something is wrong with that. If we're all benefiting, that's okay. I have no problem. Like the money's going back to the church, going back, probably have a little daycare center where members can send their children to free of cost because your contributions can pay for staffing and stuff like that. But you don't get any benefits. Only the people who are in charge benefits from this. Look at the way they live. They don't have hungry days. This man had several houses and cars. And you're taking your loss and giving to something. Like how? How does that even make sense though? There's a case of a man whose entire family said himself, his wife, and their children, they all attended. And he saw his daughter starting to behave in a way that was questionable. He said that she started walking around the house naked and stuff like that because they go to church, and at some point the man had them disrobing, had to remove. How is that of God and church and people build? You go to church and you have to remove all your clothes because what it says, you can't show shame before him. So this man, people weren't going to church for God. From based on all the things that I'm reading and what people were going to church for this man who was their God. I've been doing so much reading up on this thing, and it's like, you ever notice, right? Especially in the Caribbean, there are practically every corner you go, there's a church. Every corner you go, there's a church. Says people went and took out loans to give to this man. Andrea says all the red flags were there. They simply buried their heads in the sand. This is more than red flag. This was blue, pink, green, and not just a little flag, but some big, you know, the flags we wave around carnival time for Soca Mona? Those big flags. And they just didn't get it. It's like they were brainwashed. It's like they didn't have a mind of their own. They couldn't think on their own. Nobody saw this was like something was off, something was wrong with this. You're going to church, and according to some of the reports, the man hardly even preached from the Bible or spoke about things. He had his own way of doing whatever. Because I listened to it. He's all over on YouTube, and his preachings did not draw you any closer to God. This man was just saying anything. The man started talking, then ministry. The man sounds like he wanted to be an actor, he wanted to be a singer, he wanted to be a dancer, reggae artist. Like, what is the purpose of church? So I might as well stay at home with my family or with my man or husband or whatever, and we pray and we just try to do the right things as best as we can. Why am I going to church and having to literally my last dollar put it in a collection plate? And I'm hungry. And if I'm hungry, I can't go to the same church and say I have no groceries. Can you help me? They're going to tell you, go somewhere else. What are churches for? This man preached nothing about God. You know, you've heard of people being indoctrinated, but this isn't the only one. There are a lot of others. This is just the one exposed based on how far he took it. But there are a lot of churches doing the same thing. And like I said, don't get me wrong. I'm not telling anybody don't go to church. You have a right to believe in whatever you believe in, but still you have to use discernment. If you are at a church and everything is about money, and every time you go, the pastor is about money and always need money, money, money for something, you need to ask yourself a question. What am I here for? Is it to get closer to God? Is it about the fellowship? You have to look out for the red flags. If every time you go, it's always about some money, 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 money. There's some churches that pass a collection plate 3 times, like your pocket have like never ending money, like every single time. Pass once, pass twice, pass 3 times. At the end of the day, people are entitled to believe whatever they want to believe. But all I'm saying is, If you go to any church or any building where you're supposed to be on this path with God, and the person or the pastor or the preacher or whoever it is, if their sole purpose is about money, if everything is about money, if you're required to give a certain amount of money, ask yourself a question. Why am I here? And again, let me reiterate, I have no problem if you're required to put a certain amount, but you're also benefiting from it and not your pastor living lavishly, driving the latest vehicle, 3 and 4 houses, could go on vacation, and you can't do none of that. And you know what? Why they're doing it is based on your strength and your contributions. So if you're sowing a seed for a purpose, let's say to help a single mother to take care of her 3 or 4 children, or a widow whose husband died and how she has the family, whatever to take care of, or just to help. If you're seeing it, if you're seeing that members are benefiting and they're getting help, no problem. But there's no way I'm going to take 1 red cent out of my pocket. What I don't even have. People actually took loans, as a matter of fact, to give to this man to support his lavish lifestyle. And I'm here destitute and eating tin mackerel every time and can't eat a piece of steak. We have a problem. We have a problem. If you're seeing the benefits, church members are benefiting, then fine. But you have to look out for what they call the false prophets and all of that. They say not all who call Lord, Lord. Listen, I used to go to church and don't play with me, Y'all don't want me to start a preach. I used to be in the church like religiously. Back in the day, your parents, they didn't go. But Sunday morning, when that sleep just started to get nice, and you're anticipating you'll get up about at 9:10, 6 o'clock in the morning, and church is 7. You're getting some slap on you. Come on, get ready to go to church. And you had to go every single Sunday. So for those who are out there in churches and are inclined to do the same, those of you who are capitalizing on the weaknesses, as Jihad said, of your congregation, stop. Fattening your pocket, filling your pocket to the brim while your congregation is hungry and could barely make ends meet. Some don't even have a job, but they're finding the money to put in the collection plate. Stop it. And for you who follow them and you figure and you don't know how to leave, you need to ask yourself a question. What is my purpose here? Do I leave satisfied? Do I leave spiritually filled? Don't just go for going sake. Some people just go for going sake. No. Stop fooling yourself and stop fooling God. Stop wasting your time. And stop giving what you don't have. I've seen so many comments here. Someone says, I'm close to the church is a liquor store. Or a bar. I'm telling you, if you were to count the amount of churches we have here, it's a lot. Yeah? They may call me all kind of devil, but whatever it is, it is. I'm not a gullible one. That is for sure. Lydia says, if you're reading your Bible and ask God for wisdom and understanding as he asks you to, he will definitely grant you that. Some people's hearts are not in the right place, just gullible. That's what it is. Do you realize, says YouTube chat never get love? I need to really log on to YouTube at times. I'm sorry, but I only see the people who are here on Facebook. I don't see the YouTube, so I probably have to open it up on another place so I can see who's on YouTube and interacting on YouTube. But I just share it there, and I completely forget that there are folks over there who look at it there. So I'll try to work on that. All right. Brian says, oh, we gotta go look at the time. There's this false narrative that the more you give, the more you will receive. Well, I have a problem now because I've been giving all my life. And if I check on the scale, if you're balancing how much I get compared to how much you give, but you don't give to get anything. You give because, I mean, it's a good feeling, it's the right thing to do. You know, much times I pack up bag and stuff I don't use and just give it away. I'm not looking for anything. I don't want anything. So if it really worked, if people really believe that it worked, because there's a lot of people who give, and when you watch yourself, you don't really get anything to talk about. So for one to believe, it is definitely a false narrative that the more you give, the more you will receive. People need to stop being so gullible, letting people tell them all sorts of nonsense, and you drink it without asking a question. People just need to. Happens in some churches, some countries. The manipulator reads his followers and know how to speak to them, the language to use, how to behave in their presence. It's all part of the power play. It's all an act. They study them. They know who they know who follows them, and they know how to get to them. Anyways, had enough of this, man. It's in day 3. So let's see when did he people are saying that he didn't die, all sorts of conspiracy theories, or they planned it, or they this, that. So my question is, if he didn't die, so how come the police officer died if the accident wasn't what people are saying it is? But I'm waiting to see if he's gonna rise on to go into that arc on what's today? Tuesday, Wednesday, third day. So it'll be tomorrow or Thursday. Let's see. Sometimes the people tell you all foolishness and use your cabeza and think for yourself. Stop being so gullible. If you want to get close to God, there's a lot of things you can do on your own. If you're going to a church or whatever and you're not getting that, you can do it on your own, or find another church that you get what you're seeking without having to take out loans and make contributions you can't afford just to be up there. Just stop it. Yeah. Anyhows, guys, thanks so much as always for being here. We will be back tomorrow for another show. Same time, same place. And in the meantime, let's continue to stay safe. All right. Thank you so much to our friends at Western Union, Beacon Insurance, and Escomar Variety Store for making our program possible this morning. I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right. Have a good one.